we were just in a conversation yesterday, and it links with other ones we've had. I've got two thoughts trying to jump out of my head. One is, we presented to a credit union board of directors, and they said, we're a small credit union. What can we do? We can't afford this. We can't make mistakes. We want to wait until we know what we have to do. And we can give them, and we started to give them some guidance on what you can actually start with. But the conversation yesterday was about, again, related to the credit union world. Open banking, we keep talking about apps and services, which are mainly going to be apps and the odd, online or website. Let's say it that way. What do you do for people who don't use that technology? And it was it was an eye opener when it was mentioned. Mm-hmm. So, I'll use an example just, close to home for me. My wife comes from a small town in Saskatchewan. My in-laws and others, they go to the branch. They talk to Betty. So how does open banking affect them if they're not on their phones or on a website? How do you open up these new services to them? And I have to say, I'm going to have to think about that for a little while. But does it mean that people in the branch have to be more of facilitators to assist people? So, we're generalizing to say it's small towns, it's rural and all that, but that's a reality potentially, or it could be anywhere in Toronto or any other big city. If you're not technology savvy or have access to it, how is open banking going to benefit you? And it was a great question to sort of ponder, and we have to solve for that as well.
Right.
That's inclusion.
And that's a very good point. Like, I actually know someone in his early 30s, young individual, and he just does not like technology. He's very good with it, and he does it when he has to, but he is someone who goes to bank branches, who, if he needs his auto insurance, he made an appointment and went in there. It's just, I think it's just perhaps a bit of a rebellious streak on his side. He just doesn't want to conform to what everyone else is doing. But, there are personal preferences, right? And it's not just small towns, rural communities. Mm-hmm. You have people all over who just have a different perspective on life. And there are people who feel that, technology perhaps is kind of overpowering and just taking over our lives, and they don't want to follow that path. And I don't think that's an invalid thought process. People are, they're allowed to have their opinions and thoughts, and if they want to live life differently and, not be hooked up to the Matrix, if they don't want to be, you shouldn't have to be, right?
Yeah, and this may sound like a bit of a plug for CGI, but the great thing about CGI is it's always been an enabler for financial institutions and clients that we work with, right? And perhaps that from providing them with expertise and resources and knowledge, and some of it's providing an IV solution. So what in the brave new world of open finance, what we continue to seek to do is to enable customers wherever they are on that journey, big and small, which pieces they have and what pieces they need in order to help them fit open banking and open finance into their future. And so the thing that I see excited about CGI, and as we continue to develop and some of these relationships and some of our methodology and into applied consulting, is very much about how do we continue to enable, how do we adapt to whatever regime or some of the rules that come down, that we continue to provide the clients with the best set of this strategy view as well as the IP solution technology view, mm-hmm. and how do we tag payment modernization into these conversations and continue to be enabled to our client. And I think and having these large pieces of the jigsaw puzzle really helps us figure out the smaller pieces and how to fit the gap and fill in the blank for our clients. And I think that's a really neat piece, and that's what that sort of gets me excited, because I like to be for those who sees my LinkedIn profile, I call myself a dot connector. I love connecting the dots, and I think it's really CGI really allows us to do that.
Definitely. No, and that's something, I feel like that's a recurring theme with a lot of the guests that I've spoken with, is that there's a lot of capabilities at CGI, and it just, even, us, I'm sure this may apply to the two of you, but for me, definitely, is that CGI is just, it's such a behemoth of a firm, and it's so global, and we have a part in pretty much everything, it feels like, and we're just not aware of it. So yeah. It's always really nice when I hear people mention other geographies where we operate and leveraging the resources there. So, David, you mentioned that earlier because we do have presence in Europe. We do have a presence in Europe,
Absolutely.
where people in those offices have gone through the open banking introduction and they're living it right now. So, what was their experience like? What can we learn from it? How can we help our clients here? And I know you two have a lot of meetings that you're in pretty much almost on a daily basis where you're discussing this. And so I think it's a great service to our clients for you guys to be able to leverage the resources that we have and provide accurate information, or as accurate as it can be, given the knowledge that we have.
Absolutely. And so, as you said, I mean, CGI is a very large company. One of the things you quickly learn to do is the networking, is to get to know, because you'll read something in the newspaper and go, we do what in Germany? I didn't know that. And then you've got to track down, well, who in the German business unit has this? So you're right. From an open banking perspective, we've been very, very lucky. We had a number of teams in Europe that were involved with, the original PSD2 and the way they launched it. We stood up 2 digital banks and helped digitally transform a third bank, a bank in Luxembourg that's like 180 years old, something like that. To get them in. So we have all the knowledge and learnings from that. The platform that we were talking about actually originated there. We built a digital bank from scratch. Again, I say we, it's the royal we of CGI. And then we look at our colleagues in the UK who were very, very closely involved with the Financial Competition Authority. They were closely involved with OBIE, which was the open banking implementation entity. So we've not only been involved at the sort of the regulatory level, the government levels where they're adopting these, we've been involved with our clients. So our bank and other financial institution clients who needed to prepare to participate in open banking. We've seen the different, models, specifications. So we have access to all of these people. And, we have a global open banking working group that Roy and we share information. So we're telling them what's going on here, and they quickly go, oh, well, 15 years ago when we did it, well, maybe it's 8 years ago, but it's that sort of thing. They'll tell us what they did, what they saw. Oh, and we did this, but then we changed it 3 years later because this was a better way. So we're very lucky to benefit from that information, be able to share it. Now, as I said earlier, sometimes we've got to adapt or adopt it or alter it to fit the situation here. But it's great to have that extra knowledge and experience that we can tap into. And we'll bring, actually, luckily it's all teams, we can bring people into calls with clients to say, don't listen to us who've done the research from our colleagues. We'll get them on the phone. We'll talk to them.
Definitely.